Take a drink.
Women Insurance Producers Unfiltered. Hi. We are doing a training today with Miss Linda Strong and Amanda. Amanda, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm just going to have you introduce yourself.
It's Amanda Frendberg.
See, very phonetic, kind of like my last name.
No. No. Amanda, just to make it fair, you've got to try to say her last name.
All of the ba.
See, very phonetic. Thank you very much, Amanda Frendberg. We know how to say each other's last names. Miss Linda Strong can actually start the introduction of herself because, you know, it says that not everybody has enough luck to have a last name like that, Linda.
I do have a really cool last name.
I do.
But no, I got the privilege to listen to Amanda and Lacey the other night when they was having a team call. And she went over kind of a checklist for 2024 and, you know, a report card for all of us that used to get those back in the day. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really good. And I thought that, you know, a lot of people in our community would benefit from hearing about it as well. But Amanda, just to kind of loosen you up a little bit, I want to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Tacos or burgers?
Tacos.
Audio books or reading books?
Audio. I don't sit still long enough to read.
All right. Telesales or face-to-face?
Face-to-face.
Work harder, work smarter?
I mean, that's like, it's both. It's both. That's a hard one to answer because I really believe in, you know, smart work, obviously, but if you're not working hard, then the smart work doesn't work either. So, you know, it's like, you got to have both.
It's a trick question and you passed. So good news. Good news for you. But yeah, tell us a little bit about the thing that you guys went through on your team call, and then we're going to kind of break it down a little bit. So we'll have some fun. We'll give you guys some tips.
Okay. Yeah. Guys, I went over this with my team the other day because I feel like that it's really important at the end of the year to just take a step back and just really think about, you know, and assess yourself, you know, take a look at exactly what it is that and how it is that you've been doing things. And that way it will give you the ability to say, hey, this is what I need to change to be able to hit my goals for next year, right? If we don't know what we're doing wrong or what we need to improve on, then how are we going to change anything to be able to hit these massive goals that we hit? So having goals are great, but if you're not doing things to improve yourself, then how are you ever going to improve, right? And I think that takes being self-aware. And so that's why I just really like this self-assessment. And I think Yola's going to send this out, right?
Yeah, I'm actually going to share it with our screen whenever you guys are ready, and then we'll start going through them.
No, let's hear it at the end. Let's hear it at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Linda.
Yeah. I mean, feeling froggy today, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But no, Amanda's right. If, you know, I think somebody says a goal not written down is just a wish.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's somebody, you know, famous that says that, but yeah. So, I mean, you're right on the target there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it takes being self-aware and being able to step back. I always say, to my new agents, I'm like, look, you have to be able to zoom in and zoom out. You have to be able to say, okay, what are the details of what I need to be able, you know, be doing? But then also you have to zoom out and get a big picture view of it and say, okay, well, how well did I do this week, this month, this year? Because when you're going through the day-to-day grind, a lot of times it just feels like that day-to-day grind. It feels like you're not getting anywhere. And so if we can just, you know, zoom out and assess ourselves and, you know, just say, hey, how am I doing with this? And you have to be honest with yourself on all this, guys. I mean, that's, you know, you have to really, it takes a strong look in the mirror to be able to, you know, fill this out honestly and say, okay, am I really putting forth enough effort and all of that? But we can kind of run down through the, it's a list of what, 10 or 12 things here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on that the first one? How happy am I with my overall performance 2024?
Yeah. So, and all of these ladies, this is you'll rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, right? So how happy am I with my performance in 2024? You know, I think sometimes it's easy to be overly critical on ourselves as women. I actually just had a conversation with someone last night that she called me like crying. She was like being really, really hard on herself. And so don't be too hard on yourself, but also be honest with yourself and say, you know, how happy am I with how things have gone this year? And that's looking at it big picture. That's not saying, okay, well, I had a bad month this month, so it ruins my whole year, right? That's saying a big picture. How did my year go? Do you have anything on that one, Linda?
Yeah, I mean, you're basically saying, hey, when you're grading yourself, don't just look business wise. Look big picture. Look, spiritual. Look, personal growth, personal relationships, health. All of those things, self-development, like all of it combined gets you to where you want to go. And when you're thinking about it, when you're grading yourself, that's a perfect time to start thinking of remedies. Start thinking and just jot down ideas of ways you can improve. Yola, before we move on to number 2, do you got anything on that one?
I mean, yes, I think you guys are both right, which is why I haven't really said much. I'm in agreement. You have to kind of look at the big picture, especially because we never tend to look back. Like everybody's so busy right now goal setting, and they want to look for 2025. But if you really don't have an honest opinion, and if you don't have a good outlook on what 2024 looked like, you are not going to know what 2025 is going to look like. 2025 is going to look like because you haven't really assessed it. I would say my overall performance for 2024, and I'm going to rate myself on this one kind of harshly. I would say about a 5.
Dang, you called us out. I wasn't really wanting to rate myself.
Oh, well, you know me, Linda. I just
unfiltered.
I thought we were supposed to be going and answering these questions.
Well, I mean, I guess we can. I mean, Amanda, what's your answer? Because I'm going to send this out to your team.
Well, see, so it's interesting because I did this last year for myself, and I also did the business plan that we had with our IMO sent out, like a business plan and goals and things like that. So I've been reviewing that, and I hit most of them. I mean, I'm not exactly happy with the amount of production that I've done, but I did have several kind of curveballs that came at me out of nowhere. And so as far as how happy that I am with like my whole year performance as a person and, growth wise and business wise, I mean, I'd have to give it like an 8.
Good job, Amanda.
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot accomplished this year. I moved. I'm now on this like health journey thing. So I'm moving the needle on several aspects of my life.
You need to asterisk. The little asterisk, you need to do that on last year. Like when you made those goals, you need to say, hey, I accomplished this goal and went through, a move or, whatever it was. So that we can, look back in 10 years and see that not only did you hit most of your goals, you did it with shitty circumstances.
Yeah. Well, that was on the list of things to do was to move. I mean, it was, I had that planned out. One thing that I hadn't put on my list was adding Medicare, which I did that this year. And so, I mean, it's been a ride. It's been not easy.
Hey, but you've persevered.
Yeah.
So on number 2, you wanted folks to rate their skill level for where they're at.
Yep.
So what's the main takeaway there?
I think with this, there's just different aspects of being an agent. There's, the ability to, close, there's the ability to underwrite, there's all the different aspects of, the skills that we need as an agent. So there's a lot that goes into that. And so this is really a big picture agent skill level type, looking at it that way. but you could also break it down. I think Lacey brought that up. You could break it down into like, hey, I need to improve on my underwriting. I need to improve on my, whatever it is, my service, but or my closing ratio, whatever it may be. So you could break that down into different sections if you wanted to yourself, and then rate yourself on that.
Yola, you want to lead us on what your agent skill level is?
Oh gosh. Of course you were going to ask me that, because I opened the can of worms, didn't I?
Right.
My agent skill level, I would say, is a 10 in my current field. That's why I'm expanding. You do kind of get to a point where you're like, okay, I know how to write this product and I know how to write this business. So what can I do so I can actually make sure that I'm at a skill level that I'm happy with? So I'm happy with my agent skill level for 24. I'm excited about my agent skill level for 25 because I'm acquiring more things and more knowledge and just a more product line. What about you, Linda? What is your agent skill level?
Yeah, I want to hear from Linda.
I mean, I find it really hard to get. I'm like, what's the Portnoy guy that rates the pizza one bite? Everybody knows the rolls guy. And he takes one bite of the pizza and he gives it a rating. We're gonna have to send this in. Maybe we'll make it onto his Instagram or something. But I would say this: when you're looking at agent skill level, we're all at different places in our career. So if you're starting out, like that's usually who's the most hungriest for knowledge is the young bucks, because they've not gotten smacked around, and we need to do a good job of like building that up and not being the negative Nancy that tells them, oh, you just haven't seen this happen yet. Just wait. We kind of run into folks like that. But I would say that if you're just starting out, your agent skill level and how you need to grade yourself, it is pretty easy. I would take work ethic over talent any day. Any day.
Yep.
So if you don't know, if you don't have the product knowledge yet, make up for what you lack in knowledge with work ethic. And nobody can take that away from you. And it's not a matter of talent at that point. It's just who's willing to work harder. And really judge yourself based on, start small, start with a small team. And judge yourself where you fit in within that team. So we put numbers out every week. Every month we see, what we grow, what we issued, what we grossed, and what we net. All right. Look at your team numbers. Where do you stack up? We all played sports or was in the debate team or what. You knew where you stacked up. Like Amanda said early on, be honest with yourself about it. And then just start implementing things to get 1% better a day. And your gravy.
Yep.
Yeah. So number 3, you talk about something that's pretty important to a lot of folks. Needs to be very important when you're first starting out, and that's communication and responsiveness. So break that down for us a little bit.
Yeah. So I feel like that it's the industry that we're in, and as an agent with our clients, it's extremely important to answer the phone and to get back to clients as soon as possible. If you can't answer the phone, not only will you lose sales by not answering the phone because somebody's calling to add on, and you're just ignoring their phone call, but you think that it's something bad, right?
Yep.
But you just need to be in constant contact with your clients and answering the phone, picking up. If they text you, respond. But also the other part of that is with your coach or your upline. You need to be, and it goes hand in hand, because if you're doing one and not the other, then there's probably, I don't know that really happens. I feel like if you're bad about answering the phone for your clients, you're probably going to be bad about answering the phone for your coach or your upline.
Bingo.
So, again, yeah. So again, it's just being honest with yourself. Like, hey, am I avoiding phone calls? Am I avoiding text messages? Am I avoiding emails? What do I need to do to get better at that? Because that is one skill that in this industry, you can't survive without that. without being, in constant contact with human beings.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So,
You're right.
that's just, it is what it is. I feel like that, everybody needs to be all in, answering the phone, very responsive. And if you're not a 10 on your communication and responsiveness, then you need to check yourself and figure out why,
Or figure out who, because you're being a 10 to somebody.
yeah.
Is it the right person?
Yeah.
Are you being a 10 to social media? Or are you being a 10 to the girl you're trying to get a date with? Are you being a 10 to, what are you being a 10 to? Because you're giving it to somebody.
Yeah. Grant Cardone says you're 10xing something in your life. So
Yep.
What is it? Right.
Yep.
You're giving your attention to something. And so is it the things that you need to be focused on? That's really what that goes back to.
Yeah. Yola, what do you got on that?
I agree. I mean, I haven't had a lot to say because you guys have had this conversation like you had practiced.
Well, Amanda
yes.
has. This is her second go through.
I love it, Amanda. Everything you've got to say, like, I'm sitting here bobbing my head, like, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is important. That's why I say that this is a character defining business, because you really try to start figuring out your character. And if you're not that character, in order for you to be successful, you need to become that character.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'm always a work in progress, especially when it comes to communication. Linda already knows that.
Yeah. Oh, she can communicate for sure.
2 languages.
That is true. That is true. The only thing that I have to add on this is the things I've noticed is if you're doing the right thing to begin with, you shouldn't have a reason to worry about answering your phone. So answer your phone. And that goes in all facets of life, whether it's your personal relationships, whether it's your business relationships, your client relation, whatever it is. So, Amanda's right. A lot of times, especially as a young agent, you get a phone call. You just wrote a policy yesterday and Miss Johnson's calling you today and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have pushed the extra push or whatever it is. And you start freaking out and you don't want to answer it. And literally, like Amanda said, Miss Johnson is thinking about insurance. And she might have just talked to somebody that was like, oh, I need insurance. And now, because you've been scared, not only did you lose business, but you lost the client's trust. Because what did your ass say when you sold the policy? Oh, I'm not like everybody else. I'm going to answer my phone. Right? So, do what you need to. And same thing if it's coaching aspect, like you trusted somebody. In this instance, Amanda, and her team, there were folks on that call that trusted Amanda to deliver results. And if Amanda is trying to reach out to you and you're non-responsive, you forfeit the right to come back later and say, well, I didn't get what I needed. Right. So it is a two-way street. And I'll leave it at this. I made a post yesterday about learning the difference between a statement and a question. Learn the difference. If somebody makes a statement, if somebody texts you and it's a statement, there's not a question mark after it. There is nothing in the grammar police rule book that says you have to respond at all. A question, yes, you need to respond. A statement, you choose whether you want to, entertain that argument or not. Sometimes I do. The next one, because we're long-winded females. The next one, lead investment.
Yeah, lead investment. This would really only apply to folks that are buying leads. I know some of the ladies in this group probably have, different ways of, getting their business. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But you have to be honest with yourself. Like, hey, am I actually buying enough leads to be successful? Am I doing what my coach said I was going to do, what I needed to do in order to be successful? Am I spending enough on leads? Am I getting in front of enough people? I think on our side of things where, we are buying leads, it's, extremely important to have enough leads. And I think a lot of times people skimp on leads, and then that's the reason that they end up failing, is because they get in this funk where they're not really doing enough. And so it's the struggle bus continuously. And so
trying to see the same people over and over
Yeah.
and over, because I bought the lead and I've not reached them yet. And it's like a lottery ticket. You can only scratch the thing one time.
Yeah.
And you know, like, now I'm saying that loosely, but Yola, what do you got on that?
Leads are important. Think about them as your inventory to your business, because you wouldn't have a clothes store without any clothes. So why do you expect to go to work without any leads? I also agree with Amanda that some of us, again, you get into, if you have a community that knows you and you start doing outreach and things, you're getting books of business. But that, I feel like, comes in after a few years in the business. Starting out, you have to start with some type of investment, because your skin is in the game. And guess what? When those leads used to hit my credit card, you better believe I'm going to work, because that's, an investment that I just put in, and now I got to replace the investment. So I feel like it puts you in a position to perform versus waiting for the business to just fall into your lap.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll say this, because buying leads, everybody understands the deal. There's some people that say I don't buy leads. Well, you're spending time, and time is money. So yes, you are buying leads. It's all packaged differently. I'll say this, when I've helped a lot of people get started in this business. I would say starting out, before you've learned, so your first 6 to 9 months in the business, for every dollar you spend on leads, you're gonna make $7. So if you spend $100, you're gonna make $700. You spend $1,000, you're gonna make $7,000, right? As you get better, we all talk about the movable middle, and we can break that down another day. But as you get better, you get to the point where you're making $14 to $17 per dollar invested, right? So if I spend $1,000 a month on leads, I'm pretty much ensuring that I'm going to write, I don't know, or I'm going to make $160,000 to $170,000. So it's a scalable thing. You just have to track what you're doing and stay consistent on it. And ultimately, if you're brand new and you're starting out, quantity over quality. Take 100 chances. If you could buy a lead for $1, you could get 100 leads for $100, or you could get 10 of the freshest leads for $10. Take the 100. It's a law of averages. And furthermore, it's going to help you, because you're going to have more opportunities, and you're not going to be stressed out. Like, I'll buy $1 lottery ticket, $10, I got to think about it. And I'm a lot more pissed off when I don't win. So, help yourself out when it comes to that, but invest in leads. Amanda, number 5, how committed to the business are you?
Yeah, I mean, and I feel like that this is something that you really have to take a minute to think about it before you answer it. Because you need to be able to answer hey, am I really putting in as much effort as I possibly could? Or am I making excuses and saying hey, I couldn't do this because of that, and I couldn't do this because of that. And, if it's important enough, you'll find a way. And so you need to ask yourself, hey, how committed am I to this? Am I doing literally whatever it takes? Or am I being lackadaisical about it and saying, well, I'll go to work when I can, right? Or when I have the opportunity to, right?
You wouldn't be even able to do that with a W-2 position.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
You'd be fired. You'd be fired immediately. And I think that people come into this business thinking that, oh, I can't wait to be my own boss. Guys, that's the hardest thing ever. It is, because, you're the one saying I can take the day off, but you're also the one that's stuck if something doesn't happen. So I think, Amanda, like you're saying, it comes down to belief. And Yola, what do you think about this? Do you think that you can make this work if you've got a plan B?
I mean, no offense to the part-timers, like people that come in here for a part-time, like it's kind of like dipping your toe. You can't have a plan B because if there's always a plan B, then you're never going to succeed at this. If it's do or die for you, like Amanda, you live and you die by your book of business and by your work ethic, then that's where it needs to be, because it's very easy at the first sign of adversity. And we know we have a lot of them in this business. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. You have to be able to grow through the adversity and not make it into, oh, well, I'll just go back to my W-2. Because that's easy, but you didn't sign up for easy.
Yeah. Now I think everybody kind of gets the hint on that one. Let's do team player. What's it mean to be a team player?
So I think this has a couple of different aspects, because for me, I didn't really have a team whenever I came to this industry. I was just direct to
hey, nobody does.
Well, yeah,
nobody does.
But what I've found is comfort in like sideline support, like people that are like just starting out like me, right? Or people that are now at the level that I'm at. Not just looking up to other people, because yes, we want to learn from those people, but I've found this just camaraderie of people that aren't on my team that are like just in the same boat as me. Now, with that, I would say, you need to be careful who you're trying to be a team player with, as far as who you're trying to help and be involved with, because people will bring you down. People will bring you down. So you have to be very careful about the people that you're associating with, because if you're just trying to be a team player with somebody, like, oh, hey, we just started at the same time, let me help you with this, or blah blah blah, then it's probably going to bring you down if they start to fail out and you aren't. And so I think it's easy to fall into that trap. So team player is good. And you need to ask yourself, like, hey, how much am I trying to help others, or how much am I involved in, if you are a part of a team, right? How much am I involved in my team things and events and team chat and trying to bring others up? So that's
I want to hit on this, and I'm going to let Yola hit on this. Amanda and I are in the same company, not on the same team, no financial gain either way. We're just two like-minded women that want to, help others succeed. I've watched Amanda, and the reason Amanda's a good leader is because before that, she was a good teammate. She cheered other people on. And guys, in this business, everybody's going to have winning and losing seasons. And I see it all the time. Like, somebody that maybe you started before all of a sudden has a winning season before you get yours. And I see it, and I hate to say it, but especially women, sometimes it's always, well, how did that happen? What did that, instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to celebrate this person's winning season, we try to negate it. But we'll have a winning season too. So celebrate others when they're in theirs, because the flip will happen. Yeah. Yola, what do you have on that?
I feel like that's why we started Women Insurance Producers Unfiltered. Because everybody wants just a sense of belonging, and without actually having to worry about financial gain or loss, or what my personal gain or loss is. I just want to see other people succeed, and I think that's how we started this community, and that's how I like to highlight women in their own journeys, because like you said, we might walk in on a chapter of somebody's life that we can't, judging them by that chapter that we walked in on is unfair. We have to give them the opportunity to feel like they belong into something that says, listen, I'm just as new and figuring this out as you are. That's where the team players comes in. It's not just your company. I feel like it's the whole industry that we need to address in that.
Yeah. And growing a network, a community, like you said, just like we're doing. And then having others like Amanda that has something to offer. Amanda's not asking for anything. She's taking her time out of a Friday evening to come record so we can give, 6,000 women information that maybe will help them. So a team player, you've got to have it. You've got to have it. And we're running a little close on time, so we'll send this out to you guys. But there will be a couple extras on there that will be self-explanatory. We wanted to hit the main ones tonight. The last one that I want to hit, because I think this is especially important right at this time of year, and it's financial responsibility. Like, everybody's pinched right now. You made decisions in November that you thought you could make up for in December, and now here you are halfway through December and you're feeling it. So somebody new coming in, or somebody that wants to put a foundation in place for 2025 when it comes to financial responsibility, what are y'all giving them as advice?
Gilly, you want to go first on that?
I mean, yes, I can definitely talk about that. Financial responsibility is, just being, again, self-aware, like we always talk about, with where your finances are and where you need to be, because we write a lot of business, but we also spend a lot of money if you really don't understand where your incoming is coming from and where your output is going to. So understanding the finances is going to actually help you sell better, because if you don't reverse engineer your numbers and you say, I've got a $5,000, business bill that I have between your leads and your finances and your personal bills, that you have to reverse engineer your numbers where you're making at least 7,500, right? So just kind of be honest with yourself about, where am I in finances, would I like to be in finances, and reverse engineer accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, and I think all too often agents come into this and they think this is all like, shiny and new and, all kinds of money. And then a chargeback hits and then they don't have the money. And so it's like, you have to be responsible with what you're putting back. What I did, and kind of what I still do, is I pay myself a certain salary, and then literally everything else goes into savings. So it's like, I'm not just increasing my pay just because I'm making more money, or I'm really, slowly increasing anyway, but I'm saving more. I'm not just paying myself more and taking advantage of every dollar that I make and then scrounging to, come up with the lead investment money, or to pay myself later on. I have a nest egg there. And so that's one of my goals, is being able to put money, as much money back as I can, because who knows, life happens. Who knows what'll happen.
How long you been in the business?
Almost 3 years.
Look, you learned that lesson 2 years before I learned it, essentially. So,
I've been doing it since the beginning.
Then you learned it way before I learned it. Trust me, because no, that's so good. I've been on a W-2 for 3 years, which means I went essentially 4.5 years, just 1099 in it, big balling it out, before I realized, oh wait, that's not working. So kudos to you. I got 3 things on that, 3 really quick things. Keep your lifestyle the same. So if you come in and your average bring home is $3,500 a month, and now all of a sudden you're making 6,000, don't spend 6,000, because here's what happens, guys. You just become broke at a higher level. Like, your bills get more expensive, so then you have to make more money to make. Keep your lifestyle simple. And like Amanda says, get a nest egg, get $10,000 in the bank, and you feel a lot more comfortable when you don't make a sale on a Tuesday. And it's so much easier. A couple of other things. When you come, especially when you come from a W-2, you're used to getting paid either once a month or bi-weekly, typically. And you've got accustomed to being able to pay this bill this time, and on this paycheck, and this bill on that paycheck. When you get commission, you start getting paid daily. It's easy to say, like, I remember I went 6 months in the business and I was making good money, but I was broke as a joke. I was living paycheck to paycheck, commission check to commission check. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And what was happening is I would get a $600 commission on Monday, and my car payment was due on Tuesday, and it was $400. And I was paying my car payment. And then I had $200, and I was thinking, well, I'm getting a deposit on Thursday, and there would be an amendment, and I didn't get that. So it was constantly, I was broke. I felt broke. Get yourself to where you stack up some commission. I literally, Amanda, went from paying my bills, like I would wait all week, and Friday I would take, let's say I got $2,500 in deposits on Friday. I would take half of it for bills, and I would save the other half. And then I got to where it was every 2 weeks I would do that. And then it got to where I was back on auto draft. I didn't have to worry about it. So that was a very long-winded version of saying, keep your lifestyle the same. Don't go out and buy a brand new car. Don't, go get the designer jeans. Save your money. It's a lot easier. Yola, what do you got on that?
Can I start with the financials?
Oh, did you? I was so long-winded. I went all the way around. I
agree with you
forgot.
1,000%. Don't go out, because I did that when I was in the casino business. I was making six figures, and I went from 80,000, and when I started making six figures, all I did was just buy more shit. And all I did was just get more power, So when you're on a salary, I feel like it's different. If you have a job that's guaranteeing you like a certain income, it's a little different. But when you're self-employed, then this is the only way that you have to survive, and nobody else. You can't, rely on anybody else. It's very important to keep a cushion and make sure that you're okay.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go?
And I think financial freedom, like debt-free living, is becoming the new flex. It's not so much about, the big nice house or the car or anything. It's like, I'll drive. I've already said, you guys hold me to this. I have a 2021 Acura that I bought brand new, and I said I'm driving this for 10 years. So I'm 2 years in. Y'all hold me.
I don't know if it'll make 10 years, will it? That's a lot of miles.
Y'all hold me to it. Y'all hold me to it. But
well,
listen,
that's my plan on my car too. I bought mine. I have a Toyota Camry, right? And I bought my car 2 Junes ago. So this coming June would be 3 years. I'm planning on, with my extra money from Medicare this year, I'm planning on taking that money and paying that car off, and I'm driving it until the wheels fall off.
Yep. Which will be the very next month.
Probably.
Don't
it's a Toyota.
That.
It'll make it forever.
Don't receive that. But listen, guys, I've had a blast talking to you. There's some more on this sheet. We'll make sure we send it out. We are unfiltered, so we'll probably send this video out unfiltered so you can see it all. But there's a lot of nuggets in here. So whether you're just starting out, you're seasoned, whatever, try to find something in this that you can take away and make your 2025 the best one yet. So we've all got the ability. Let's have some fun. Yola?
What I'll do is I'll put it onto the group as far as files. If you don't mind, Amanda, I'll share it with our group on our files tab. And
you can share it.
Yes, and if you want to share this video, I'll make sure you have a copy of it as well.
It'll be shared from the group too.
Yep. And it'll be on the YouTube. It'll be on all our platforms as well. I think it's incredible. This self-assessment is very important, especially if you're first starting out, but it's more important as you grow into this business, because we do tend to get just in the day-to-day grind where you're not pushing back and saying, okay, where do I need to? And I feel like this self-assessment is not just for the year. I feel like you can do this every quarter and be
you should.
Yep, just kind of continue to tweak it, because what starts out at the beginning of the year doesn't necessarily translate in June or July when we're in the middle of and the thick of it. So maybe evaluating the self-assessment twice a year would be good, or 4 times a year would be good. I wanted to thank Amanda for joining us. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's
no, you're good. No, I was just gonna say, make sure you put those asterisks when you kicked a goal's ass and you did it overcoming obstacles that you didn't see.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, Amanda. It's
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge and information. But I mean, your team's very lucky to have you, for sure.
Yeah.
Amen.
Well, I hope to make it a whole lot bigger someday, but we're just a small group for now. So
Hey,
Small but mighty.
yeah, small but mighty group.
Everybody starts somewhere. Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, you guys, on to the next one. Bye.
Bye.